Thank you for those who are here in person and for those who are live streaming. I will ask our board secretary to take a roll to establish a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. President Craighead.
Here.
Member Benitez.
Was that me, Leticia?
Yes.
I'm here too.
Member Miller.
Here.
Member Otto.
Here.
And Student Member Aguilar.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. And now we will have our Pledge of Allegiance. I understand we have Lizette from Jordan to lead us in our pledge. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all.
And now we will have some comments by our student board representative, Axel.
Black History Month celebrates and honors the achievements, contributions, and the impact that Black and African Americans have had on the United States. Knowledge of Black history with all its joys, struggles, and triumphs affirms identity and provides us with lessons on how individuals and communities have problem-solved challenges in order to seek justice. Studying Black history allows us to see that history is not dead, but alive and illuminating as we strive to better understand our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Axel. For those of you who are present in the room, the board appreciates and supports community input at our meetings. During the meeting, there will be time for the public to comment on matters on the agenda and matters not on the agenda. For those who have not already submitted a request, we have provided forms here by our board secretary. If you wish to speak during the meeting, please fill out a form with your name and the agenda item you wish to address. The board has been meeting in closed session regarding matters listed on today's agenda. The board took action on the following items. Item 3.1, confidential student matters pursuant to California Education Code 35146. The board voted 5-0 to expel 2 students. The first student, ID number 3203, is expelled in compliance with Education Code Section 48900N, and this student will not be eligible to apply for readmission. The second student, ID number 4157, is expelled in compliance with Education Code Section 48915C1 and will be eligible to apply for readmission after the 2024-25 fall semester. Both students were recommended to be considered for a suspended expulsion with an opportunity to attend another school within the district. The board also voted 5-0 to readmit 6 students, ID numbers 7352, 2130, 9387, 8733, 5764, and 8120. Regarding item 3.3, the board voted 5-0 to approve a settlement agreement in the case listed on the agenda. On item 3.6, the board voted 5-0 to approve a final settlement and general release regarding the cases listed on the agenda. On item 3.7, the board voted 5-0 regarding the dismissal of an employee. And on item 3.8, the board voted 5-0 to approve the appointment of Maruna, and somebody help me with the last name so I don't, Laskar. Did I say that okay? Sorry, Maruna. As the director of the special education for the district, but congratulations, Maruna, is what I'd like to say. Adoption of the agenda. Before we adopt the agenda, I want to make a change. We need to move item 14.9 to 15.2. We need to take that item out of the consent calendar A and move it to consent calendar B. So when we're voting on the agenda, That's what we'll be voting on, that amendment. Does anybody else have any other changes, any other considerations? Then we
Move
need,
to approve the agenda as amended.
thank you.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Our student board representative with a preferential vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Then the agenda has been adopted as amended. Now, we have the pleasure of meeting our student representative from Jordan. So, Lizette, it is your turn to give a presentation. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Baker, board members, and LBUSD staff and guests. My name is Lisera Nayi Enriquez, and I am the student body president at Jordan High School. I am a senior in Jordan's media and communication pathway, and I am honored to present to you all today. I am a true Northside kid. I attended McKinley Elementary, then continued to Hamilton Middle School, where I was in ASB for 2 years. Now at Jordan, I have been part of the student leadership program with ASB for also 2 years. I am a former volleyball player, but this year I had the amazing opportunity to make history as a participant in the Moore League's first ever girls flag football season. We finished second in the league and are very excited to continue building this program. We've had a wonderful start to this school year. Jordan's enrollment is continuing to grow with all of our beautiful new facilities. It's brought great pride to the North Side. We opened a brand new building at the beginning of the school year, our 12,000 building, where our beautiful new Ames lab spaces are located. Our 3-story science building reopened in January after major renovations, and the plaza area buildings have taken our campus to the next level, and we are not done yet. The next phase of construction begins in May with the start of our athletics field. The social scene and student life at Jordan continues to thrive. Our focus the last few years has been making our students feel connected to our school and creating more opportunities for the students' engagement. We made a big push through with the Link Crew to get our 9th graders involved and make them feel supported. We had a great homecoming turnout with 29 clubs participating and a beautiful horse and carriage for a halftime show. It was a lot of fun for that week. A few other events ASB and other clubs have hosted include a haunted house for Halloween, Pico dance night, freshman mixer, senior jeans painting, movie night under the stars, Hispanic Heritage Month activities, and a month of kindness and gratitude activities. Our pathways are also on fire. On January 18th, we had a very successful site night with over 400 people in attendance. We got to show off the great things our pathways are doing. Our advanced manufacturing, construction, and engineering program, known as ACE, had an informative mentoring session with over 15 industry professionals sharing their experiences with students. The Jordan Media and Communication Pathway, JMAC, seniors are headed to LBCC and excited to participate in the Meet the Arts program. The LEAPS program, which is Law, Emergency, and Public Service, continues in building connections with Long Beach Police and Fire departments. This year, they've started an advisory board comprised with multiple public service agencies in Long Beach. This has helped bridge the communication and positive relationships within our community. I am very excited about graduating this year, but I must say this transformation of Jordan has been amazing to watch and to be a part of, to continue. So please continue to keep your eyes on the North. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Wait a minute before you sit down. So we probably have some questions for you. Did you mention you were a senior?
Yes.
So what are your plans for next year?
So my plan for next year is I will be attending LBCC for 2 years, and my plan is to transfer out after those 2 years to UCI and major in business and economics and minor in psychology.
Wow. Well, that's very impressive. We wish you all the luck. Were there any other questions or anything? No, then I speak for the group when I give you these well wishes. Thank you for being here tonight. After we recognize our retiree, we'll have a little bit of a break for pictures, so if you could stick around a little bit,
Okay.
that'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, and next we're going to recognize a retiree. So, Miss Viola May, would you please come to the lectern? So, thank you for being here so that we could recognize your service. Actually, over 31 years of service, and you are retiring as an instructional aide at Cabrillo High School. And we praise you for being highly professional, caring, and an experienced instructional assistant in the art classroom, getting to know all students, including their individualized education plans and particular needs, in order to personalize and support their instruction and classroom experience, and for supporting the social, emotional growth of students, being a dependable colleague, and excellent communicator. So please accept this certificate that Letitia will be handing you for your 31 years of dedicated service to the Long Beach Unified School District and your lasting contributions to the lives of thousands of students. And also, I know that you are always here supporting your colleagues, supporting everyone else. So we thank you.
Thank you so much. They don't count the years I worked at High Hill and also the years I worked at Head Start. So it's actually 34 years with the district. But again, like I said, they don't count High Hill. I have worked in all levels of special ed in my time with the district. And my journey into special ed actually started when I was in 5th, 6th grade at Webster Elementary School, when I started working with the special ed students that we had there. I have been in Long Beach long enough to have worked with the students at Nightingale, for those of you who have been in Long Beach long enough to recognize that name. So I have been around a while. I will miss my kids, and they are all my kids, and people know when there is special ed around that to mess with my kids, or they're going to hear it from me. I have worked with many of the people that are on this board in the district. I've been on many committees with the district. I've been on a couple interview committees to interview people who wanted to become principals. I've also worked on renaming with Jill, renaming school sites and buildings within school. I've worked a lot with the district through CSEA as a classified employee, working well in negotiations and a few other capacities. I won't be going away in that respect. My chapter has given me lifetime membership in the chapter, so therefore I am still going to be around as a job steward, as somebody who is active with CSCA, and I will still be here. But I will say this, I am leaving tonight after this to celebrate with my family. I have my wonderful niece, Davida Mescal. She is a newly contracted special ed teacher with Long Beach. She also worked for, about 15 years as an instructional aide? My nephew, Michael, where did he go? Oh, standing in the back. My nephew, Michael, who works for AmVets, and his wife, Liza, who works at Long Beach State College, right? And then my nephew, Lauren, and his wife, Danielle. Lauren works at one of the refineries back here, and his wife is a stay-at-home with their 2 children. So I have here my great nieces and nephews who are the 3rd generation of Long Beach Unified School District. And I will probably be the only one who didn't graduate from Poly, as they're all Poly. Although I did go 1 year while we still lived over here on the west side, and then we moved to North Long Beach, and I ended up at Jordan, class of 1975. So again, thank you so much for this.
So at this time, we will have our student representative from Jordan come up here and do a picture. And then Viola May, we're not letting you go. We're going to have you come up here. So we'll go ahead and just do some quick pictures. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and continue with the meeting. We have a very packed agenda, so I'm gonna power on. Next on the agenda, we have, oh, did we have a video? Oh, okay. A quick video.
I would describe Jefferson as a very caring and supportive environment. We look to our students to kind of drive what we're doing and what our ideas are. If I don't have a relationship with my teacher, I'm not going to learn from my teacher. One thing that I'm really excited about our Jefferson teachers is they look for ways to build relationships with students. One of our math teachers, Karina Rodriguez, decided to be on the early implementers of building thinking classrooms. Now when you walk into a math class, students are all standing, they're all doing the work. It has changed the game for math at Jefferson, and students are doing really well. We changed up our master schedule so that all of our students are in co-teach, and we saw significant gains for our students with IEPs in both language arts and math. So those are some examples of making system changes and seeing results. We survey our students all the time. We have new clubs every year based on student interests. Right now we have guitar club, we have gardening club, we have gaming club. The list goes on and on. You don't know until you ask what kids are interested in. Like, we had no idea that they would want to ride in the golf cart. And that's something that's so simple, but something that they can work for and they're really excited about. Student voice is huge. We're always listening to students.
I know the videos are short, but they're always very impactful, and it's always good to know what's going on around the district. So thank you for that, staff. Next on the agenda, we have public testimony. So we will start with testimony on items on the agenda, and we have quite a few, so I'm going to ask people if they could, don't feel it's necessary to take up your full 3 minutes, because we have a lot of people and we want an opportunity to hear from everybody. So if you could come under your 3 minutes just a little bit, we'll be able to squeeze everybody in. But just a reminder, you do get 3 minutes, and we will start with Charles Brown.
Thank you. Honorable President, Superintendent, and board members, my name is Charles Brown, and I am representing the Long Beach Community Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative Collaborative. This august group of folks here representing agencies, community organizations, and leaders within our community that are dedicated towards not just the curtailment, but the elimination of violence and its impacts on our communities. We are here to support the new proposed MOU agreement for West Long Beach Safe Routes to the School program. I will not read the entire support letter, but I will state this first part. The pandemic has exposed the need for public health infrastructure that supports safety as well as well-being of impacted school and park communities. Long Beach Unified School District can become a model for the rest of the nation on how to restore and heal our most wounded school neighborhoods. On behalf of the Long Beach Community Violence Intervention and Prevention Collaborative and Central Child, we support the district's recommendation to approve the new proposed agreement contract with Central Child to provide safe routes to school programs in West Long Beach for the term 1/1/24 to 6/30/24. I just wanted to make a brief comment on this. February 26, 2005, 15-year-old Cabrillo High School junior was shot to death in a gang confrontation. On January 21st of 2023, 17-year-old Khalid Salim was killed in an exchange of gunfire on the basketball court at Silverado Park. The one death that I will always remember is on March 13, 2015. 15-year-old freshman Keyshawn Brooks was stabbed to death over a backpack. Anitra Dempsey, who was then the Human Dignity Officer for the City of Long Beach, and I visited the family of Keyshawn shortly after his murder in an effort to show support and provide whatever comfort we could, and we experienced the abject pain and sorrow from his mother, who could hear nothing that could console her or provide substantive answers to why she could lose such a precious gift to a senseless act of violence, which also robbed another youth of his freedom, the perpetrator, scarring his future and life forever. This program is very simple, straightforward act of support for all families in this area who have children attending the listed schools. It is only the beginning to address the elimination of senseless violence in our communities in the Long Beach City.
Thank you. Next, we have Danny Flores.
Good afternoon, good evening, Long Beach Unified School District board members. My name is Danny Flores. I am a parent of 2 students in Long Beach Unified School District. I'm also a retired city employee. I worked in a variety of programs with youth since 1988. For the past 30 years, I've been working in the city of Long Beach on a variety of different programs in low-income communities, gang-involved youth. My overall goal was and is to enhance the quality of life, to build leaders in mentoring and providing pathways to careers and education. I'm here today because as a parent, I have a fear for my children walking to and from school due to the increase of violence, not only in Long Beach, but across the nation. I'm strongly urging you to pass the safe passages that promote safety at Cabrillo High and Stevens Middle School. In the past, I have provided safe passages at Stevens and Cabrillo and Washington Middle School. I had strong communication with parents, school, and administration, youth, students, and community members. I provided communications to all collaborating partners of the trends and activities that go on in these groups that cause violence in the communities. I'm trained by Urban Institute of Los Angeles, and I have an trained eye for conflicts before it even starts. I prevented fights and other dangerous conflicts in Long Beach and the West Side schools and the Washington School. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Jocelyn Sanchez.
Good afternoon. My name is Jocelyn Sanchez. I'm 21 years old, and I graduated from Cabrillo High School in 2021. My high school year wasn't really the best since there was a lot of gang violence. My bad. And as an older sister who has 2 brothers still attending school, I would feel more comfortable if the program Safe Passages will be passed. I wouldn't have to worry about my brothers going through the same things. Do the same things I did when I was attending school. In my honest opinion, I feel like Westside Long Beach needs the Safe Passages program.
Thank you. Next, we have Ladine Chan.
First and foremost, I just want to applaud the speaker before me for being able to share your story. So, thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Jill Baker and board members. My name is Ladine Chan, a program manager for a youth program called EM3, Educated Men with Meaningful Messages in Long Beach. 20 years experience working with youth. Many of our youth are from different high school here in Long Beach. For me, a proud Poly alumni, go Jackrabbits, and also a member of the Long Beach Community Violence Intervention Prevention Initiative Collaborative. I urge the board to pass the Safe Passage proposal, a program specifically designed for Cabrillo High School and Stephen Middle School. The initiative aims to ensure the safety of our students both and on school grounds and during their commutes. Investing in the programs like Safe Passages is essential to maintaining a secure learning environment. Every student deserves to feel safe traveling to and from school, and this proposal is critical to fulfilling that commitment. The board should recognize the significant impact that initiative would have on student safety, and I kindly request your support on passing the Safe Passages proposal for Cabrillo High School and Stephen Middle School. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Valerie Cruz.
Hello, my name is Valerie Cruz, a proud resident of the Westside community for my entire 29 years. As a single mother of 2 young boys attending Webster Elementary, I am a strong supporter of the Safe Passages program and believe it will bring numerous benefits to West Long Beach. One, ensuring the safety of our children on their journey home is crucial. They should be able to walk without the constant worries of encountering someone with disrespectful intentions. Second, the presence of potential predators in the area is concerning. It's unpredictable what might be going on in their heads as they pass by our children, highlighting the need for a secure environment. 3, gang activity is an ongoing issue not only in the West Side, but throughout Long Beach. Gangs show no regard for a child's well-being based on their color, treating them as an enemy. Our children shouldn't have to endure such challenges as it leads to problems and conflicts with each other's families. 4, it is essential for our kids to stay safe and have the assurance that they will make it home safe without any threats. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kareem.
Hello, my name is Karime. I am a Long Beach resident. I myself attended Stevens Middle School and graduated from Cabrillo High School. And I am here so you guys can support Safe Passages. This is something that we've done in the past, 2016 through 2018. We've seen firsthand how great this was for the youth, how much support we put out there, the difference it makes to be out there an hour before school starts, an hour after school ends. I have nieces and nephews that attend these schools. I have my daughter that goes to Garfield. I encourage for this to pass and stay ongoing, not just a trial period, but something to continue happening for us as working parents to feel safe sending our kids to these schools, and for our kids to also have that encouragement of, we take care of safety, you focus on learning, growing, and becoming somebody tomorrow. So please take all these factors into consideration. Help us help our children sit in these chairs in the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Rebecca. Rebecca?
Muy buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Rebeca Ibáñez. Tengo un hijo en la escuela Washington. Empecé de voluntaria con Habitat, con el programa de Pase Seguro, desde hace 2 años. pero el programa ha iniciado desde el 2018 y ha sido parte de impacto que ha tenido con mi comunidad, ya que el programa me ha permitido hacer contacto con los estudiantes y el cambio con los padres de ellos, y con experiencia aquí para incrementar en las escuelas Cabrillo, Steven y a más escuelas en el futuro, teniendo una remuneración por tiempo y servicio y lograr motivar a más comunidad, preparándoles, equipar con todo, llevando para lograr esta misión para nuestro bienestar de nuestra familia. Por favor, tomen en consideración apoyar este pase seguro en el distrito de Long Beach, patrocinado por Centro Cha. Gracias.
My name is Rebecca Ibanez. I have a child at Washington School. I started as a volunteer with Habitat with the Safe Passage program 2 years ago, but the program began in 2018, and I have been part of the impact it's had in my community because the program has allowed me to have contact with students and see the change with their parents. I am bringing my experience here in order for you to increase this program at Cabrillo and Stevens and maybe more schools. Maybe in the future, compensation can be offered to the volunteers for their time and service, and with this motivating the community, preparing and equipping them to achieve this mission with all it entails. This for the well-being of our families. Please consider supporting the Safe Passages program sponsored by Centro Cha at Long Beach Unified School District. Thank you in advance.
Thank you. Next, we have Herlinda.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Erlinda Aro.
Good afternoon, my name is Erlinda Aro.
Actualmente tengo 2 hijos en la escuela Cabrillo. Okay. Ellos utilizan el transporte público y mi mayor preocupación siempre es la hora de entrada y de salida.
So I have 2 children at Cabrillo High School, and they use public transportation. My main concern is before school and after school.
Que es cuando hay un mayor número de incidentes de violencia. También viendo que la escuela está cerca de donde se forman grupos de estudiantes y pandillas. Esta zona es muy traficada, como es la Santa Fe. ¿Quiere traducir?
Also, they're in an area where there is lots of incidents of violence. A lot of group of students gather, also groups of gangs along Santa Fe Avenue.
La parada del bus está a la vuelta de la esquina y no siempre se sabe a dónde ir a la hora de un incidente de violencia.
The bus stop is placed at the corner, so you don't always know where to go when there is an incident involving violence.
Mis hijos han acudido a la escuela Edison, a la César Chávez, a la Washington y no conocen el área, porque nosotros no vivimos en el área de la Cabrillo. Solamente acuden ahí a la escuela y ellos no saben a dónde ir, no tienen a un familiar cerquitas, tienen amigos, pero no van a estar ahí cerca cuando algo ocurre como un incidente de violencia.
My children have attended Edison, Chavez, Washington, so they're not familiar with the area around Cabrillo. They attend Cabrillo, but we don't have any family members or friends nearby, and they wouldn't know where to go if any violence occurs.
Lo que les digo es que si ven algo, digan algo, y por eso me gustaría que pongan a Pase Seguro, para que tengan ellos una persona de confianza donde acudir.
So what I tell them is, if they see something, say something. So that that's why I'm asking that you establish the Safe Passage program, so that they have someone to go to, and if anything happens.
Necesitamos que Pase Seguro que sea financiado durante varios años y que sea implementado por organizaciones de confianza de Long Beach.
We need the Safe Passage program to be supported financially for several years, and also for it to be provided by community, que sea proporcionado por agencias. Coordinated with Long Beach organizations.
Y cada día pasan incidentes y ahorita está pasando en esta área, Cabrillo, y por lo que es el área de la escuela de la Santa Fe, por favor, si pueden, hagan algo. Ahorita está comenzando ahí y a rato se va a extender a otro lugar.
Every incidents occur every day around the Cabrillo area along Santa Fe. So it's starting there now, but then it will eventually expand to other areas.
Pase seguro, por favor.
Safe passage, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jessica.
Hello, good evening, Jessica Quintana. Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Baker. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Members of the board, and also Tiffany, just want to give you a big shout out. I know it's really difficult to talk about, some of the violence that happens in West Long Beach. And I think you all know, providing education, in this district, how long this district has really suffered disinvestments. This community has a long history of disinvestments, economic development, really addressing opportunities for pathways to higher education. The majority of workers that live in the West Side are low-wage workers. And so there's not a lot of opportunity. We have 2 parks in the whole West Side area. We have refineries that surround the whole area, so we have high issues of environmental issues. If we didn't have the bridge that went over to the west to East Long Beach, those 2 bridges, we'd be an island. This has been long-term in our community, and so as you know, just recently with the economic downturn and the pandemic really put us even further behind. So if you already had students and families already, having trauma and living in poverty and health disparities, well, the pandemic just really pushed us back even more. And so I just, want to urge again the board to really support this. Not only, it's great that we have an investment up until June, but these type of programs it's critical that we continue the funding, because then you're able to establish that partnership in the community. You're able to really uplift the students and the parents and create that safety. What happens when you stop and start, then you have this whole gap again to start up, costs us way more money than continue these programs that we know are effective, they're evidence-based, they're culturally appropriate, they're age appropriate, and they really reduce violence in the communities. And so, we just want to urge the board members and to really support this, and, also thank you for the conversations that we've had. It's important that our district, being the 2nd largest district in the county, but also one of the largest districts in the state, that we take these type of bold investments into our community and ensuring that we have safety for our children. Because as you know, economics and poverty, really have to have the same type of safety as other areas in our communities for our youth and families to be able to live, work, and thrive. So again, we want to thank you on behalf of Centro Cha and our collaborative. We're working very hard to change the narrative in our community, and so that has been shown by the $1.5 million investment that we received from the Department of Justice for the first time ever. So thank you.
Next, we have Alfredo.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm here to speak a bit on the safe passages and keeping the youth safe. I myself did the Safe Passages program in West Long Beach at Stevens and Cabrillo, and I'm just here to tell you that this works. We made sure that our kids got home safe. And I want to thank all the women here that came from Washington Middle School. My daughter attends Washington Middle School, and I want to thank them because they make sure that she comes home every night. So on behalf Thank you. Thank you, guys. I can't stress it enough that we need this long-term investment. And this investment, our kids are our investment. Our children is the future. So we want to make sure that they're safe, they come home every day and become something in this world. So I want to thank you guys. And on that note, you guys have a great night.
Thank you. Lilia Ocampo.
Hola, buenas tardes o noches, no sé. Mi nombre es Lilia Ocampo y tengo 2 hijos en la escuela Washington. Y el año que viene van a hacer su escuela de casa es Cabrillo. Entonces estoy preocupada porque escucho todos los episodios de violencia que pasan durante escuela, después de escuela. Entonces, pues sí, estoy preocupada por mis hijos. También soy voluntaria de Pase Seguro en la escuela Washington, aunque últimamente no he estado activa por situaciones de mi vida que me han pasado, pero quiero decir que ese programa funciona, nosotros lo hemos implementado, la mayoría de las compañeras que están atrás son parte de, han sido y ayuda a los niños, uno puede notar el cambio cuando empezamos a hacerlo y después ya los estudiantes nos reconocían, los padres también, incluso cuando no estaba yo haciendo el programa, si yo tenía que pasar, me daban el pase y pues creo que estamos construyendo comunidad y que este programa debe de pasar para apoyar a las escuelas que los necesitan, sobre todo las escuelas que tenemos en las áreas de bajos recursos.
Okay, so good evening. My name is Lilio Campo. I have 2 children at Washington School. Next year, they will attend Cabrillo High School, as that is their school of residence. And so I am concerned because of the violence that is occurring before and after school. I have been a volunteer with this Safe Passage program at Washington Middle School, and this program works. It helps children. We can see the difference from when we first begin the program to the students begin to recognize us. I wasn't very active for a while for personal reasons, but the students still recognize me, and also the volunteers allowed me to pass.
Por eso les pido que por favor apoyen este programa de pase seguro para las escuelas Cabrillo y Stephen por parte del Centro CHA. Gracias por su atención.
And so I ask you to support this program for Cabrillo and for Stephen, this by Centro CHA. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was great. We heard from everybody on items not listed on, or listed on the agenda, so thank you for that. Now we are at public testimony on items not listed on the agenda, and we have quite a few, so I'm going to remind everybody we only have 30 minutes for this topic, so 30 minutes for items not listed on the agenda. So if you can make your comments within those 3 minutes so that we have a chance to hear from everybody, that would be appreciated. So let's go ahead and start. We have Cecilia.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Board of Education, my name is Cecilia Rogers. Today I stand before you as a passionate and determined 7th grade student from Cubberley K through 8, ready to advocate for my future. It is essential to address the negative impact that the proposed budget cuts to Cubberley will have on our students' ability to decide which high school pathway to select, as well as our journey to start thinking about a possible career choice for the future. Education is the key that unlocks the doors to success, and by limiting our resources, you hinder our potential. I think it's great that the school district has an ambitious vision 2035 focus. However, I'm urging you to have the same vision for the graduates of 2024 through 2034 as well. These budget cuts are not aligned with the graduate portrait or the system portrait that the Vision 2035 is supposed to be reimagining. Let us not forget that we are your future leaders, doctors, engineers, business owners, and artists. We are the ones who will shape the world and make a difference. The quality of your life will depend on how you invest in us, and we will inherit this world one day. However, without the proper tools or opportunities, how can we reach our full potential? The proposed budget cuts will strip away vital resources such as Spanish, art, and other opportunities such as technology, all which are crucial in preparing us for the challenges that lie ahead. I visited Site Night at several high schools recently, and it's clear how having Spanish 1 through 2 credit from middle school would be an advantage to my success. But these budget cuts will take my opportunity away, only leaving me with half credit and having to start the curriculum over. College and career readiness does not begin in high school. It begins the first day we enroll in elementary school. However, it is the middle school years that the real seeds are planted. My career goals include pursuing art, and this year is the first I've had the formal art class in school. The days I have art are my favorite at school because I get to practice something I want to do in my future. I ask you not to ignore the artists at Cubberley and give all students the opportunity to create through their K through 8 years. The proposed budget cuts will not only affect our academic growth, but also limit the availability of career exploration opportunities that electives offer. It is your duty as the Board of Education to ensure that every student has access to quality education that prepares them for the future. I urge you to reconsider the proposed budget cuts. You're not just investing in our future, you're investing in the future of our community, our nation, and our world. Thank you for your time and consideration. Cecilia Rogers.
Well said, Cecilia, well said. Next, we have Emily.
Dear Board of Education members, my name is Emily Brower Rogers, and my daughters attend Cubberley. Cecilia is in 7th grade, and Madeline is in 4th grade. I stand here today asking you to reconsider the proposed budget cuts to our school. I'd like to advocate because these cuts will negatively affect not only both of my daughters, but the hundreds of other students that attend this school. My daughter, Cecilia, hopes to pursue a career in art, and this year was her first formal class in her K through 7 years at Cubberley. While there have been small additional programs funded by the PTA, nothing has been formal or permanent, despite California law requiring arts curriculum in the classroom and Prop 28 providing funding for this purpose. Dr. Bober's class and her syllabus was such a refreshing answer to this, where it allows students to be exposed to a variety of art, skills, and techniques across the board. I've never seen a middle school syllabus so thoughtful and inspiring. We finally have a dedicated instructor who not only provides art electives to middle school, but also provides enriching art curriculum throughout elementary. We cannot lose this integral curriculum for our school. Under the proposed budget cuts, we'd also be losing Spanish. The A through G requirements that are needed for college ask for 2 years of Spanish, and these can be met partially by middle school courses. I'm unclear as to why you would take away a course that allows students to get ahead for high school, as well as give flexibility for other electives they may want to pursue. I know there are countless studies that show that learning a language is easier the younger you start. This also adds value to Cubberley's middle school with the academic rigor that we hold highly there. When we looked at middle schools, this was one of the reasons that we chose Cubberley. I realize that one of the reasons the cuts are happening is because of lower enrollment. However, if we don't have the same offerings that allow students to advance their studies, I fear others may not choose the school because schools inside and outside of the district will instead have stronger language programs. This will just lead to a perpetual cycle, creating more cuts to the programs at our school. My family values the education that my children have received at Cubberley and the close community that the K through 8 school provides. Please show our children that you value their education as well by providing adequate resources and funding to continue a full curriculum that is at the heart of LBUSD's philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Melissa. Melissa?
Good evening, Long Beach Unified School Board members. My name's Melissa Rosette, and my daughter Hazel is currently a fourth grader at Minigant. Today, I stand before you as a concerned parent, deeply troubled by the proposed plan to split up Minigant Elementary School for the Measure E renovations during the upcoming school year of 2024-2025. I strongly oppose the notion of displacing half of the students, the 3rd through 5th graders, and disrupting their educational environment. One of the proposed solutions, requiring children to arrive at Gant early enough to catch a bus by 7:15 a.m., presents a significant hardship for families like ours. We are a school of choice family. Currently, our residence is situated 15-minute drive away from Gant in the opposite direction of Monroe. Ensuring timely arrival for the bus would necessitate waking my 10-year-old at 6 a.m. daily. Asking young students to adhere to such early wake-up times risks detrimental effects on their attention, behavior, learning, and overall well-being. Moreover, the alternative of driving our children to Monroe ourselves would impose an additional 1-hour round trip for my family, possibly twice daily, a logistical impossibility for families with full-time jobs. My daughter's journey at Gant started in kindergarten in the fall of 2019. However, her experience was abruptly disrupted by the onset of COVID in 2020. She never had the chance to complete her kindergarten year in person, nor did she step foot inside a classroom for her first grade, which was entirely online. These children, robbed of crucial in-person learning, deserve the chance to complete their elementary school years in a familiar environment on the Gant campus, especially their crucial 5th grade year before middle school. Let's not displace them again. They deserve better. Gant relies heavily on PTA funding for vital activities like Meet the Masters, ground education, assemblies, and events. Splitting the campus would strain resources, jeopardizing programs like the school play, talent show, Apex Fun Run, and more. Without a unified campus, fostering a cohesive Gant community would be challenging, if not unattainable. I urge you to reconsider this plan. Instead, let's collaborate on a solution that prioritizes our children's health and well-being and educational continuity. Let us explore alternatives that keep the school together and close to the Gant neighborhood. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next, we have Brian. Brian?
Good evening, board members, and thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for all the hard work that you do. My name is Brian Coney, and I am a parent of a 5th grader and a 2nd grader at Longfellow Elementary. I'm here tonight to ask for your help in solving a problem that threatens the well-being of our school community. I've written to some of you about this, so I hope it does not come as a surprise. We've recently learned that our school of nearly 1,000 kids is losing its Title I funding. And the main consequence of this is that we are losing our half-time assistant principal, Allison Rayburn, our full-time teacher librarian, Teresa Wolvett, our SEL program coordinator, Carol Allwood, and our full-time counselor, Grace Reyes, is being cut by 50%. 3.5 positions are gone. For a school of 1,000 kids, losing these people is tragic. And especially more so for the nearly 400 socioeconomically disadvantaged kids in our school, which for context is larger than the total enrollment of some schools that will retain an assistant principal or counselor next year. For many of these 400 kids, our counselor, Ms. Reyes, is a safe space that they will have even less access to. Our teachers are already spread thin, and by removing these positions, they will be spread even thinner, with less time for productive instruction, small group work, test prep, and so forth. Removing critical support structures creates an unhealthy learning environment and endangers the goal of closing the achievement gap. During a recent community budget meeting, Principal Plattis was asked why these positions were eliminated or reduced, and the response was that it was primarily budget focused. Also during that meeting, Mr. Jesperson commented that the district's declining enrollment is causing funding challenges. Well, Longfellow's enrollment is not going down. It is definitely not decreasing, yet we are being punished. Additionally, the school site council recently surveyed families and teachers, and the number one priority for both groups was student interventions, and the lowest priority was professional development. To me, this indicates that there could be some creative budget problem-solving opportunities here. For example, shifting budget from professional development costs and into staff salaries, such as our counselor, Ms. Reyes. I ask that you please live the district's core values and collaborate with our school to find the funding required to reinstate these positions that 1,000 of our children so desperately need to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Addison.
Good evening, President Craighead and fellow board members. I'm Addison Brode. And I'm Anya Jenkins. We are both in 3rd grade at Minigant Elementary School. We are here tonight to share our expressions to stay here at Minigant. I am mostly concerned about the impact this will have on our learning. In addition, the activities that we will have, like field trips, violin, chorus, apex, and run club, and much more things. The changes it would make is people would have to wake up extra early and go to Minigant, hop on a bus, and drive to Lakewood without their parents. It would make it so hard for parents who have a 3rd grader and above and 2nd grader and below. We both have younger sisters who are in 1st and kinder. My sister's name is Reagan. And my sister's name is Aria. Thank you for taking time to listen to our concerns. I hope you may have changes to keep us at Minigant. Please keep us at Minigant.
Thank you. Next, we have Katie.
Move this up a little bit. Good evening, everyone. My name is Katie Bowser, and I'm a parent of this 3rd grader at Minigant. We have a huge contingency here, and we believe that you should revise your policy and take action to allow everyone to speak and to extend the time for public comment for longer than 30 minutes. On 11/2 of last year, your staff informed us for the first time that our 3rd through 5th graders would be bused to a campus nearly 5 miles away all of next school year for the HVAC renovations. Staff seemed truly shocked that the auditorium full of parents was upset at this plan. They planned to send our kids on buses at 7 o'clock or 7:15 each day, making it nearly impossible to drop off other children at Gant or at nearby schools. The kids would have an hour or more tacked on to each school day. We demand portables be brought to Gant like other schools have had for their construction projects. Staff assured us at that meeting that they would take back our questions and concerns and respond to us by the end of 2023, which was already a long time to wait when we'd been given this news. They didn't respond. I followed up in early January and was assured that we would hear something by the end of the month. We still have not. I also made a detailed records request on November 13th to try and get information about the costs of other schools' use of portables, the costs of moving half of our staff and campus somewhere else, like staff and busing costs, and information about the decision that was made, like what was considered and who made the decision. A handful of days after my request, I was told I'd need to wait until the end of January before anything would be provided. I pushed back, knowing as a public agency lawyer myself that was not reasonable under the Public Records Act. And your counsel told me that the district was short-staffed, which is not a reasonable exception, and that my request was so broad and voluminous it would take that long to gather the records. He also would not agree to a rolling release, which he should have done. On January 19th, staff sent me their final response, a whopping 8 pages of records, claiming no records for many categories and improperly narrowing my request for many others. They claimed no exemptions for not releasing documents. For example, they claimed there were no records relating to the decision to displace these kids versus bringing in portables. They said there were no records related to potential penalties if bond funds aren't used properly. As you know, there have to be records on those issues. We are being ignored and strung along here, and we will not tolerate it. We've come here because we know this is not how you'd want your constituents to be treated. We demand that portables be brought onto our campus like they have at others so that the entire school can stay together during construction and stay at their home school. We don't want any of our kids to take a bus every day and add on so much time to their day and the dangers of a bus ride. These are the same kids that started in elementary school during COVID. They don't deserve this. Make the right fiscal and educational decision for these kids and
Sorry,
families.
but your
Keep
time
kids
is
at
up.
Gant.
Next, we have Genevieve.
Hello, my name is Genevieve Bowser and I'm a third grader at Gant Elementary. I'm here to discuss the busing plans. I don't want to take a bus anywhere else. I want to stay at Gant. One reason is that I don't want to get up extra early to take a bus at 7:15 and not get home until almost 3 o'clock every day. Another reason is the older kids couldn't be reading buddies with the younger kids because of the move. And some of my friends have little siblings that would still be at Gant. And I remember how much I loved having my big sister at school with me. It isn't just hard for us, it's hard for the parents and teachers too. Why can't we have portables come to our school instead? Other schools like Lowell and Stanford got portables for their construction. Also, we have a petition with over 300 signatures that support not busing us but letting us stay at Gant. So I can stand here and say that there are lots of people supporting us and we have a bigger group than just what is here today. I don't want to be bused. Other kids don't want to be bused. The parents don't want this to happen. Please keep Gant at Gant. Please don't bus half the school, and certainly don't bus the whole school. Please take what I've said into consideration. Thank you.
Well done, Genevieve, well done. Next, we have Marcia? No. Mamsha? Merchant is the last name? I'm having trouble making out the first name.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Manisha Merchant, and I'm a parent of a third grader at Minnie Gant Elementary School. What is in the best interest of the child? That is the question that we should all be asking ourselves. My son is in elementary school. Many of these kids, when they started kinder, including my son, have barely been on this campus for 3 years. They learned actually how to Zoom before they learned how to read and write. They recognized face masks and how to swab for COVID tests before they were able to even meet their classmates in person and make new friends. We understand back then there were no options. No one can argue the importance of maintaining a stable learning environment for these children. Academic and emotional impact on children if they are bused to different campuses is not to be overlooked. You are breaking up their school family, not to mention actual families who you've already heard from, where there's more than one child at the school and only one of them is being subject to busing. A new campus, a new routine, a new playground, new supervisors. Where is the stability here? We understand that there were no options when some of these kids started kindergarten, like my son. The difference is that we actually have options now. Other schools, as you have heard, have successfully been able to educate kids while staying on the same campus in bungalows and accommodating renovations that we agree are critically important. These options may not be the most cost-effective, but they are options, and my understanding is that we have the funding. We want you to consider these alternatives. We don't want to be told that we have a voice, but then be told that a decision was made before we even had a chance to speak. The value of a seamless educational experience to support the overall development in terms of these kids is what is in their best interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jason.
Hi, good evening, President Craighead and fellow board members, Superintendent Baker. My name is Jason Brode. I'm also here tonight with the Minnie Gant cohort. My daughter Addison is a third grader, and we have a kindergartner as well at Minnie Gant. Addison was one of the two girls that was up here and spoke. So I'll be brief. I'm not going to repeat many of the points I already made. Rest assured, I won't take my entire 3 minutes. But I feel, compelled to come up here and just address the board. I personally was the individual that night of November 2nd that raised my hand at the very end. A lot of great questions were asked. The room was packed. We didn't get many answers that night, understandably so. There was somebody taking very detailed notes in the corner of the room. My only request, it wasn't a question, it was just request, is if staff could commit to the parents in the room to put out a Q&A, FAQ, whatever, some form of a response to the questions that were taken down. And, I said, 4 to 6 weeks might sound reasonable, but how about the end of the calendar year? And David, who is, I think, over in the overflow room, committed to that. So we left that room feeling good, optimistic. We didn't want all of that to be lost. Well, December 31st came and went, and here we are in early February. We still don't have a response. We do feel that this decision was kind of predetermined and that the November 2nd meeting wasn't very genuine. It's kind of a side note, it's given me a little bit of optimism, but based on the fact that December 31st FAQ didn't come out, I don't know if I'm going to count on this, but David did say, and maybe somebody here on staff or could confirm or not, that the decision isn't final, that all options are still on the table and being evaluated. So that's given me a little bit of hope, and maybe some of those in attendance tonight don't know that because this discussion happened about a half hour, 45 minutes ago. So if somebody has an idea if those are involved in those discussions and can confirm that the Mini-Gantt temporary housing plan to relocate to Monroe isn't the final decision yet, I'd love to hear that.
Well, with items not listed on the agenda, we cannot discuss that.
Okay, I understand that. So you're not taking action, but you're not even able to confirm that or not confirm that?
Yeah, that would be a violation of the Brown Act because
Right.
it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So anyway, for what it's worth, that's what I was told just this evening again, that the decision's not final. So hopefully that's the case. And anyway, I did take my 3 minutes, but I hope that it's apparent that we're coming tonight approaching this matter with diplomacy and tact, and we want to collaborate with everybody here. So just for what's right for the kids. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Amy. Amy?
Good evening, members of the board, parents, families, kids. I just want to say how amazing you are. Thank you for that. My family chose the home that we live in because of its proximity to Gantt, valuing not just the educational excellence, but also the sense of community that we foster in the neighborhood. Today, I stand before you to voice the significant concerns that I have regarding the decision to temporarily bus our kids to a school that is 4.5 miles away, a decision that deeply affects my children's routine, their well-being, and by extension, our families. The relocation necessitated by air conditioning upgrades perplexes me and concerns me because the chosen alternative lacks the very upgrades that we're awaiting at Gantt. We're forcing our children to depart at 7:15 a.m. This adjustment isn't trivial. It represents a significant upheaval for many families, myself included. I'm gonna have to hire someone to help me with my morning routine if this happens, because I don't have the bandwidth to be able to do those 2 drop-offs. And to be really honest with you, I don't feel comfortable putting my child on a bus. More than a logistical inconvenience, the decision impacts children's mental health and well-being. The additional stress that this places on families is going to require us to adjust our schedules drastically. My family faces a real possibility now of spending more money to be able to successfully transition into this new way of life. And moreover, the essence of my concern extends beyond convenience. It touches on the fundamental right of our children to a stable and conducive learning environment. This proposal to relocate the children rather than utilizing on-campus solutions such as adding bungalows seems to overlook less disruptive alternatives. I'm deeply troubled by the apparent lack of parental involvement in this decision. We are a community. That is why I love Long Beach. That's why I live in Long Beach. And the way that this happened really concerns me because it takes away that feeling of community. It feels like your decision was made without taking parents into the consideration. In closing, I want to appeal to your sense of community and responsibility. Our children's best interest must guide your decision, and in this spirit, I invite an open, transparent communication and a renewed commitment to involving parents in such critical decisions. Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope that we can work together towards a solution that upholds the values and standards of Minigant.
Thank you. And lastly, we have Daniel. Daniel.
Thank you for giving me the time to speak here, and thank you to all the Minigant parents that are here, and those of you guys advocating for safe passages. As a Long Beach resident, I grew up here. I went to Long Beach, Jordan. Mr. Rockenbach was my counselor in high school. Honestly, I'm saddened to see that people are still advocating for safe passages and just safe places for kids to be at, and that's not why I'm here. I'm just saddened that that's an item, okay? So good luck, okay? And then for the Minigant, for us at Minigant, we have a lot of questions, and we would like some answers, and it's disappointing that as public servants, as people that, some of you are elected, some of you were appointed, some of you applied, haven't given us the answers to the Q&A that we requested back on November 2nd, correct? So I think that's disappointing as public servants, and I think you guys should put that information out as soon as possible, because we are going to be directly impacted by my third grader that's now going to have to go to Monroe and get up an hour earlier and get home an hour later, which is going to affect her softball, all of her daily routine. So I understand that the upgrades need to happen to the school, and I'm for them. I'm for the upgrades. You know, I don't recall if I had AC or not in grade school, but it's a good luxury to have. And I think that involving the parents, asking us questions, putting a survey out, having more than the November 2nd meeting that we still haven't got answers from, is something you guys at least owe us as residents, as the parents of the students, and as concerned citizens. So I thank you for your time, and I just want to stress that we would like more information before a decision is made, and hopefully a decision hasn't been made, but we don't know that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. The district is aware of parent concerns at both Longfellow and Gant elementary schools. As these are not board policy issues, district staff will continue to work with the school communities involved. Next on the agenda, we have reports on superintendent advisory groups. We'll start with the business, budget, and policy development. Dr. Benitez.
Thank you, President Craighead. So just a couple of items to report out on for the Business Budget and Policy Development Advisory Group. So we had a really important opportunity to dialogue with students from one of our high schools this afternoon. President Craighead and I met with our business department team and discussed two potential policy items that would come as information items to us first at an upcoming board meeting. The first, which was based on an actual student project that was looking at policies. The students chose to look at our discipline policy. And so we had a really good, productive, insightful conversation around how students think about school discipline and school safety. And so I'm looking forward to having an engaging conversation once that comes to us as an information item. But basically, the spirit of the possible revisions to our current discipline policy came in two areas. One is that students expressed that there wasn't consistency in how school discipline existing policies based on either state Department of Ed code or our own internal mechanisms, that the consistency was lacking both across schools but also within schools for particular student subgroups. The second was around having more restorative, proactive measures and not punitive measures around discipline. So good conversation. I don't know if you want to add anything, President Craighead, but we look forward to having a future conversation to explore revisions to updating our discipline policy.
Well, I agree with you. It was a very unique experience. I believe it was the first time that we had included students in a policy review. And I think going forward, I'd like to see that happen a lot more often. The students that came to meet with us were well prepared. They had done their homework. They gave us very valuable input on our discipline policy. And I appreciated how they wanted the focus to be on something positive for discipline, about how we can turn that into opportunity and not so much a punitive action. And they help us keep that focus. And yeah, I agree. It was a wonderful addition to our policy review, and I look forward to more of that in the future.
Thank you, President Craighead. The second item that we had a good conversation around was around our suspension policy, and really wanting to address some of the disparities, both in our suspension rates, but also, again, amongst particular subgroups. So our ultimate goal is, of course, to keep students on our campuses, to keep students engaged. And so we'll be having a future conversation as an information item on how to best do that. One kind of something that came up, and I think it's important as folks consider these policies, and as we have conversations about policies, is the difference between policy and implementation. All right, and operationalizing policy. So the policy are those things that we want to concretely uphold based on our values, based on our board goals, our guardrails. How we implement those occurs in such a layered fashion, either through AR's academic regulations, and or best practices in our district. So part of our conversation with the students was in differentiating, okay, what are policies for, and then differentiating that for how do we operationalize and make sure we uphold those policies. Oftentimes we have conversations, whether it be with parent groups, student groups, our own educators, around differentiating between practices, procedures, systems that we have to have in place in order to uphold policies. And so sometimes we measure policies by our inability to actually implement them or implement them with the outcomes that we expected. So good conversation with our suspension proposed a policy, and I'm looking forward to engaging in those conversations with my fellow board members.
Thank you. One more?
One more. We do have policies in the consent calendar that we have spoken to at previous meetings for our consideration as well.
Great. Yes. And I appreciated how the students want us to focus on that equity across the district, and also not just across the district, but across all demographics, that we are treating all of our students and looking at them with the same lens. Next, we have instruction and student learning. Ms. Lopez.
Thank you. I'll be brief, we just discussed the non-discrimination harassment policy and the school's accountability report cards. There is new language to the non-discrimination harassment policy. And that states, because unlawful discrimination may occur when disciplining students, including suspension and expulsion, the superintendent or designee shall ensure that staff enforce discipline rules fairly, consistently, and in a non-discriminatory manner as specified in board policy and administrative regulations 5144. So to ensure that administrators understand the suspension and expulsion guidelines, they are receiving training every year before the start of the school year. And also for the parents, the school accountability report cards, are now available on the district website and on your child's school's website. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Miller with the workforce development.
Yeah, so I'll be brief. I have 3 things I wanted to talk about today. One is, first off, we got a big day tomorrow. It is Teacher Recruitment Night. So our Teacher Recruitment Night will be held tomorrow, Thursday, February 8th, from 5 to 6:30 at Browning High School. We're looking to fill needs like special education, dual immersion, math, science, our Avalon campus, and CTE. So as of today, we've had over 178 people RSVP. So that is really, really exciting news. Next, wanted to give you all an update on our administrative services credentialing program. So as you all have heard, as I reported last time at our board report, is that the LBUSD is in the process of submitting our application to the California Teaching Commission for our own Clear Administrative Services credentialing program. This will allow us to be our own credentialing agency for 24-25 and to help our administrators clear their credentialing, during the first 2 years in the job. All aspects of the program will be job embedded. So really, really cool opportunity for our teachers, and our employees with the district. Last, but definitely not least, an in-house Black History celebration. So our HRS team is sponsoring a Black History celebration, and the theme is honoring the past, celebrating the present, and inspiring the future. This will happen but on Friday, February 23rd from 12 to 1, here in the administrative building in room 143. This year, we will have Cabrillo students who will be taking part in the ceremony. So this is obviously a really cool opportunity for our admin team, and so I wanted to thank all parties involved for putting this together, as I know it takes a lot of work to make that happen. That's on my report.
Thank you. And next, we have student outcome focused governance. Mr. Otto?
Yeah, thanks very much. Student outcomes focused governance group met last week to talk about the monitoring calendar and set it up. We adopted it at our meeting in January, our second meeting in January, and we're moving ahead now. We have been discussing in February, we intend to discuss, we're discussing now Goal 1 and Goal 2. Goal 1 has to do with reading proficiency. The goal is that the percentage of grade 3 students who meet or exceed grade level standards on the State English Language Arts SBAC assessment will grow from 48% in June 2023 to 70% by June 2028. And the second goal, which we're also working on this month, concerns reading acceleration. And that goal is that the percentage of students in grades 4 through 8 scoring at the not met achievement level in the prior year who meet the state scale score target growth for the state SBAC English Language Arts assessment will increase from 28% in June 2023 to 60% in June 2028. Now, these goals, and there are four goals, I should say, but those are the ones we're focusing on right now. And they will have interim goals moving up to those 2028 dates that are being worked out right now. It's a very complicated and deep process to move entire grade levels forward, especially when people start at different times and in different locations. But we're confident that we're making progress on this. We are meeting on before every board meeting to put this plan together and the implementation. And I hope at the next meeting to have more information about goals 3 and 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otto.
President Craig, I just wanted to build on Mr. Otto's comment. So we will have that presentation at the February 20th workshop. If anyone's interested, this will be our first sort of round of data as they relate to the board goals that Mr. Otto just shared. Just to build on that a little bit further, and I think I'm inviting our community members to tune in. So we'll hear about what assessments we're using to measure progress toward our goals. We'll hear about what these assessments tell us. And then we'll also hear about how we understand these assessments in relation to goals. So I think if anyone's missed our conversations around board goals and guardrails up to this point, this would be a great meeting to tune into. If you're a parent, student, caregiver, family member, it will also give you a sense of the assessments that you hear your students talking about throughout the year. So we're looking forward to that discussion, Mr. Otto.
And I would just add, it's not just a regular board meeting, which means that there'll be plenty of opportunity to talk about this, and it's a different form of governance. This is a student outcomes focused governance program that we're moving towards, and we need this extra time to work these things out in public.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the consent calendar, and I'll just remind everybody that we moved item 14.9 out of this consent calendar A and moved it into consent calendar B. So we'll be voting on 14.1 to 14.8. And I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Do we have discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yeah, I first just wanted to talk about item on the consent calendar up for approval on 14.7, which is the safe passage agreement for Synthro Cha. And I wanted to just really, yes, that's item number 4. Yeah, sorry about that. I wanted to reiterate the importance of safe passage. When we send our young men and young women to school on a daily basis, obviously we are doing this in support of their academic growth. But as parents, when we're sending our kids off, we are sending you arguably the most valuable thing that we oversee. And so to make sure that they have a comfortable place to be with air conditioning and loving teachers, but also safe passage coming back and forth from school, I think that that is very, very integral to the success of not just the Long Beach Unified School District, but our entire city. And so I was very, very pleased to see that the district prioritized the safe passage of our students on the west side of Long Beach. As we've heard from the comments stated today, we've had a number of unfortunate incidents happen when it comes to our kids having safe passage back and forth. But with that, the part that I was most pleased with is, and I want to make sure that I reiterate this, when it comes to safe passage, it has to be more than a vest. It has to be more than people standing there just a part of cross guards. These are people who are part of the community. These are people that represent these neighborhoods, that have relationships with these kids, that have relationships with the folks in these neighborhoods, that understand the importance of wanting our families to be able to come back and forth safely along the Santa Fe corridor. Unfortunately, as Jessica spoke to earlier, we are well aware of all of the unfortunate incidents that have happened right there on Santa Fe for, heck, as long as I can remember. And so to this, I am glad that the Long Beach Unified School District and our leadership in particular is taking a high priority in making sure that our kids have safe passage, but more importantly, having people that are connected to our neighborhoods as community outreach representatives. So I'm very, very pleased to support this initiative here. There's also two other pieces on 14.7 that I'm happy to support. Items number 11 and item number 12 with Long Beach Blast. When I came on board to the district, I spoke very heavily of my time within Long Beach Unified School District in regards to support to great teachers, in regards to support to great school counselors. But I would have been remiss if I didn't acknowledge the support of great mentorship that I had. And so to see the district also in support of those outside agencies, those nonprofits, those organizations that are in support of the overall, we're taking a holistic approach towards supporting our students. I'm very, very pleased to see that we are supporting organizations like Long Beach Blast, which are focusing on both the support of our students on campus, but also the mentorship for our kids off campus. So these are really, really great initiatives that I'm happy to see, and I wanted to thank you all for putting a higher emphasis on these items.
Thank you. Ms. Lopez?
Yes, on item number 4 with the agreement with Centro Cha, I'm wondering, and I do have a question, are we looking to expand this program? Because I think it's a great program that we ought to be looking to expand across the district and for long term. So I do have that question. So that's my first question. I do have a few others. Go ahead. Yes, please.
Thank you for the question, and I don't want to presume your question, Dr. Benitez, but maybe I can touch on a couple of things at the same time.
I was going to say, just go ahead, Dr. Brown.
Okay. So thank you for the opportunity. Certainly coming to a place of bringing this contract forward. Thank you to those of you who are here this evening from Centro Cha and also from the Washington neighborhood. Thank you for all the ways that you have been working in service to our community. So this contract is not just a contract, it's a commitment, and the commitment is to, through the voices of community and really listening to the community need, which also I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the work that Safer LBUSD has done through Dr. Kim Tabari, through Chris Covington, and really a number of community organizations that have come together to talk about safety. And one of the things that we know is that safety grows through relationship. And so you've heard already from the speakers this evening that there are a number of groups that are providing support within the neighborhood. You've heard Habitat for Humanity mentioned, and there are many others. If I start mentioning, I may forget someone, so I'm just going to say there are many others. We have been on a path to finding out what could be supportive specifically in the west side area of Long Beach, and we've gone all over and round again, and sometimes when you do that, you get led right back to your own backyard, where Mr. Miller, as you said, really recognizing the need to know the community, be a part of the community, and be in relationship with the community that is being served. So with that, I would say in response to your question, Ms. Lopez, about expansion, the reason that the contract is for the remainder of this fiscal year is because we really want to learn our way into what is supportive and how we can be most supportive. And then from that, we look to grow into other spaces, to include community partnership, to include partnership with the city, and other organizations, some of whom we may not even know right now. And so our approach is not that one thing is supportive, but that many things in connection with community are supportive of what we need to bring our students to school safely and home from school safely. I hope I addressed your question, and did I, Dr. Benitez?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Brown. So you touched on almost everything, and one of the things that you just shared, we're having, I think, from my perspective, multiple conversations with the city as well, and oftentimes, because we're both big institutions, some of that communication may not be getting across to our community partners. So I was wondering if you could just touch a little bit more on sort of what conversations our district as an institution is having with our city as a partner in relation to some of the things that you just shared.
I appreciate that. We've been in a couple years worth of conversation with the city and really talking about what the possibilities may be. And through that collaboration, we've been able to bring together a number of ideas. We continue to have conversations, and I want to acknowledge the group that was here from the Long Beach Violence Intervention Prevention Coordination effort, because the city is a part of that. And that is actually a wonderful example of community joining around two large institutions like the city and our school district to support bringing people together. And so I'm really grateful for that leadership that has brought us there. I think that that space is allowing the school district and the city to come together even in some new ways in conjunction with the organizations that are there. And the thing that we know is that we don't have to compete with one another. We all want the same thing. There's enough need to go around, and so our efforts join together to determine what works in different community spaces is really the focus that we have. Thank you.
In this. They have been on this issue for years now, and in fact arranged for the same kind of Safe Passages program several years ago, arranged by them also at Cabrillo and Stevens, and it was successful, but it was expensive and it was hard to do, and this is the first time that the district is partnering with Central Chaw to achieve this. This is a $235,000 grant. Central Chaw, in its efforts to address the violence issue in Long Beach, received a $1.5 million grant from the United States government, from the Department of Justice, and it's been working on this for a long time. And the core, like Dr. Brown said, of this is working with the neighborhoods, working with the neighborhood groups and the people in the neighborhoods to make Safe Passage more than, as somebody said earlier, just somebody in a vest, but getting people involved that say that this is not going to happen anymore. And we're very excited about this. And my understanding is that if this is as successful as we hope that it will be, as we want it to be, what will happen is it can be expanded, but we want to get the data first. And so that's why we have a one-year grant. But kudos to Central Chaw and all the people that have been involved in this. Ms. Craighead and I have been attending these community violence intervention and prevention initiative meetings for the better part of a year now. And the involvement of the community in this is strong and needs to be celebrated.
Yes, I actually have a couple more questions, and these are going to be for facilities. Items number 26 and 27. There's two contracts, one for $200,000 and one for $550,000 to provide site surveying services as needed. And if someone can just elaborate on these contracts.
Yes, I see Mr. Miranda approaching the lectern.
So both of these particular agreements are new master agreements, as we call them. So they're really on-call type services, only to be utilized if and when we need those particular services from these particular entities. So in the past, as I brought forward our pre-qualified pools of consultants for several of these professional services, I mentioned we still have them compete at a second level for particular project awards. This gives us that capacity to be able to award a particular task order to each of these service providers if and when they land one of those particular projects. So it's an authority to be able to allow us that flexibility to go fast, award project-based professional services to each of those respective providers.
Thank you. And while you're there, would you please explain item number 34, the leaseback construction services for HVAC and portables, which we had parents here today, and the need to increase a contract to $37,045,683. Is that because perhaps portables are coming to these schools?
Large amendment, so I'm definitely happy to speak to it. I'm glad you called that one out. So this particular agreement started way back in 2018, right? So in the fall of 2018, we first contracted with Erickson Hall Construction to be our lease-pack provider, specifically at that point in time to help us with what we call pre-construction services. Those pre-construction services really help us out in terms of the collaborative spirit with the project architect and the engineers, and just helping us identify construction-related items and issues early in the project. I say early in the project because at that point in 2018, we're kind of at that infancy, early stage of design, right? At that early stage of design, we come forward with a project estimate, which is somewhat of an educated guess at that point in time. So as we fast forward now, 5+ years forward, we have a refined scope of work, right? So we've definitely developed and further refined the scope of work. We've had cost escalation for 5+ years, and some of those years were just massive peaks in terms of what we saw with material cost increases and labor cost increases in the market. We also now have updated subcontractor bids. So we're far from the guesstimate stage. These are firm cost from subcontractors across every specific trade. So refined scope of work, cost increases, really getting us to where we are here with this large amendment. But for us, we take that, we compare it to comparable projects. So for us at the middle school level, we would compare this to a Hughes project that was completed not too long ago, and those numbers are on par with where we should be for that type of scope.
Okay, and one last question. Item 42, the bid for the amount of $1,450,000 for the drinking fountains in 15 school sites. Where can the public access the list of the schools that will be benefiting from this?
Yeah, so I would direct our public to our LB School Bonds website, lbschoolbonds.net specifically. We have a specific tab labeled, it gives folks the ability to search by school. So by and large, folks are interested in what's going on at their particular campus. So I was to search via that toolbar for Adams or Lincoln or so on and so forth. It would actually paint a picture of not just where we are with respect to this project, but several projects at their campus, whether it be ESSER-funded work or bond-related work as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Miranda. Well, I also wanted to express support for safe passages, and as Mr. Otto said, we've been serving on this committee. It's been a real pleasure and source of pride to see the commitment from the community. And I would just like to add that it's more than wearing a vest. These volunteers are trained, and so it's not just a haphazard, volunteer showing up. It's people being trained in conflict resolution and communication skills and how to appropriately interact with students and parents and community members. And I don't want to duplicate the things expressed here by everybody else because everybody else did such a wonderful job. But I would like to thank everybody for their support this evening. And even though not everybody was able to complete their prepared speech, I want to say that an emotional testimony sometimes is more impactful than words. So I just want to mention we're listening, but because we're listening with our hearts, you were speaking volumes. Just know that. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and try and vote on this. So consent calendar, and I'm going to ask our board secretary to take a roll call vote. Thank you.
Madam
Or-
Chair, I thought we were
yes.
going to go back to, you went with Board Member Lopez, and I thought you were going to come back for any other discussion
Oh.
from consent.
I'm sorry, I thought everybody had a chance.
No, I just followed, I got a chance to follow up with Dr. Brown
okay.
on that one item, so I have two.
Oh, you have two, I'm sorry.
Two questions. Won't be long. One of them, I actually want to share. I had checked in with Ms. Takahashi on whether for future consent calendar items, and particularly with either agreements or new contracts or change orders, if we could get the I find these very helpful, Ms. Takahashi, an accompanying memo. So for instance, the item number 34 that Mr. Miranda just provided some context for, I think it would be helpful for us if it's a big change in scope or a big change in amount, in this case, $16 million. It would be good for our community to know, hey, otherwise I feel like we get into sort of a never-ending, come on up again, David, come on up again, David. So I think that would be helpful, and Ms. Takahashi said that certainly the team could put something like that together. So that being said, I will not expand more on that item because I fully expect that we'll get accompanying materials that can provide some context. I was thinking of items 40 to 43, Mr. Miranda, on the shade structures. Right, from time to time, we'll get updates on drinking fountains, shade structures, so things like that as they align with our, what do we call these, Mr. Miranda, our facilities master plan, right? So we don't, we don't lose sight that these are all anchored in a policy that we've already passed as a board. So thank you for the updates. The second question I had was more around instruction report, Dr. Baker. So in here we have, let me get the number right, 14.4 are accountability report cards. And from time to time, we do get questions on, okay, what are these used for? Both at our district level, how do schools use the accountability report cards? And then if you could, Dr. Baker, how do parents make sense of these accountability report cards? Because a lot of time and effort is put into putting these up. They're on the website, as Ms. Lopez already said. So, big picture, what do we do with these? But also, how do we make sense at a school level, Dr. Baker?
Yeah, they're a required posting by the state of California that includes, as the item says, includes the requirement of demographic data, school safety and climate, academic, school completion rates, class size, teacher and staff information, curriculum instruction descriptions, fiscal and expenditure data. And so it's an opportunity for a parent or any member of the community to just have a look at the totality of an individual school in fairly common language, I'll say, and broken down by those categories. They can be used by a school site council, by a community group, working with the school on an aspect of improvement or affirmation at the school. It just provides pretty much an overview or a summary of many different aspects at the school level. They're updated annually. So that when data changes from demographics to staffing, the community has access to the updated information. And they often are used in combination with working on the single plan for student achievement. And so again, just a way for the school to have or for the community to have access to that kind of data. Yeah, they're all posted this year. I know George Tsai, can thank George Tsai and James Suarez, who really worked behind the scenes to make sure that all of the required data was clean and updated for families to access them. Is that enough? Do you want more information? Yeah.
That was all for me, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Then I think we're ready for that vote. So Letitia?
Thank you. Member Lopez?
Aye.
Member Otto?
Aye.
President Craighead?
Aye.
Member Benitez?
Aye.
Member Miller?
Aye.
And Student Member Aguilar, preferential vote?
Aye.
Thank you. That passes 5-0.
Thank you, everyone. Now we will move to consent calendar B. That will be 15.1, approval of finance report B, and also 15.2, adoption of resolution 020724-A.
Yes. Madam Craighead, if you don't mind, out of abundance of caution, I will recuse myself from consent calendar B as I have a potential conflict of interest under California state laws.
Thank you. We need a motion,
Move to approve.
and I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Thank you. Member Lopez?
Aye.
Member Otto?
Aye.
President Craighead?
Aye.
Member Benitez?
Aye.
Member Miller, you're recusing. And student member Aguilar, preferential vote.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0 with one abstention.
Thank you. Next, we move to new business. Item 16.1, approval of memorandum of understanding, TAL Health.
President Craighead?
and I'm sorry, what?
Okay, sorry, I was just checking to make sure that we got both items in consent B.
Oh, okay. Great. And so, item 16.1.
Did we move 14 or something to 15.2?
Yes, because it was under consent calendar B, so they were together.
We didn't make it a separate item?
Well, it's a consent calendar, so it was together.
When we approved the agenda, we
Yes.
made that change at that time where we took 14.9 and made it into 15.2. That was what the agenda was moved and seconded and voted on.
So we didn't move it to 15.1. We moved it to 15.2, made it a
Correct.
separate item.
Correct, and it was voted on just now. Mhm.
As long as we voted on it, that's fine.
Yes. Okay, so we're ready for new business. So item 16.1, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, let's have Letitia do a roll call vote on that one.
Member Lopez?
Aye.
Member Otto?
Aye.
President Craighead?
Aye.
Member Benitez?
Aye.
Member Miller?
Aye.
And student member Aguilar, preferential vote.
Aye.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have item 16.2, approval of stipend or course credit, course credit for student board member.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Shumford, little background on this?
Sure. Last year, AB 275 was passed and signed by the governor that allows school boards to pay stipends to their student board members and also provide academic credit. After reviewing costs and different issues we looked at, we made a determination that an appropriate amount of money for a stipend would be $500 a month, and that really includes possible transportation, clothing, and the time it takes to go through and prepare for board meetings and attend board meetings. So that's where we came up with the $500. And we also ask that you approve, beginning in the fall, one academic credit per semester. And the reason we're asking to wait until the fall is that we've got a few bureaucratic issues we have to put together there for to get the credit. So that's the reason behind it. We'll be one of the first school districts in the state to approve this tonight. Not the first, but one of the first.
Dang it. That was going to be my question.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Thank you. Member
We're ready for
Lopez?
that.
Aye. Member Otto?
Aye.
President Craighead?
Aye.
Member Benitez?
Aye.
Member Miller?
Aye.
That passes 5-0.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Okay, and now we are at, report of board members. So, Axel, we will start with you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to announce that our first semester has officially ended. Yes. And I would just like to highlight the ending of our district high school site nights. Wilson will be second to last because Poly has rescheduled their site night for February 13th on Tuesday. And the applications for high school of choice opens on February 20th. And I would also like to highlight the draft grading policy discussion presented by Dr. Camarino and Mr. Cruz to the students of the Raising Student Voices and Participations, whom provided very interesting feedback, and I look forward to what they have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
I don't have a report today. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Benitez?
You're not going to talk about the Black Student Achievement Initiative Symposium, Mr. Miller?
Of course I was, but I'll let you go.
Okay, so I'll start with that. So we had this past weekend our Black Student Achievement Initiative Symposium at Jordan. I'll just touch on a couple of things that I was able to participate in and listen in on. But it was a full day, 9 to 3, series of conversations, workshops, presentations, discussions. And I'll highlight two. One was the afternoon session over lunch with educators around culturally affirming, culturally sustaining, culturally centered, culturally relevant pedagogy, strategies, and approaches. And we had our keynote focused on African proverbs, riddles, and stories. And so without having to explicitly keep saying, this is an African proverb, this is an African story, that you could tell the story without bias about, one of the stories that was shared was about animals in the tropical rainforest. And so you don't necessarily explicitly have to front load it and say, this is as a part of Black History Month curriculum. And it's to get out of the mindset that we can trivialize and one-off Afrocentric literature, Afrocentric philosophy, Afrocentric history. And so the idea here is you can embed this in every class, every day, all your practices, right? And then weave through, and these are African proverbs, African riddles, African stories. So there was a lot of good engagement and interaction, and big heads up, shout out to Dr. Claybrook from Africana Studies at Cal State Long Beach, who led that afternoon. And I also got a chance to check in on our parent workshop, and they had a really cool exercise around connecting words and activities that families and households could do at home. So the idea is you pick, you and your student or the student can pick a series of letters, and then you can ask questions like, let's do it, Mr. Miller, pick a letter. R. So what's something that you dream about, hope for, aspire to be that starts with the letter R?
Ooh. One thing that I aspire for my community that starts with the letter R. Oh, sorry. One thing that I aspire for my community, not necessarily for me, reparations.
Okay. So the idea here would be that you could take a piece of paper, cut out R's, A's, B's shape. You could put the R on the piece of paper, and then you could make that into a family art project that's connected to culturally relevant, culturally affirming, culturally centered pedagogy at home, right? So connections about the assets, the gifts, the talents, the knowledge that are in every home, every household, every family, every student, and the implications of that within our classroom settings and our educational endeavors. So it was a lovely time. Thank you to all the community members and students that showed up, but a big thank you to all the team at LBUSD that helped put that together, and to all the work that's involved. You know, you kind of just show up, you're there from a certain time to a certain time, and don't often get a chance to really think through how much effort and intentionality it takes to put a symposium together. Speaking of opportunities to engage with our communities, so the city is undergoing its participatory budgeting process. And thank you, Mr. Dr. Camarino, and if you can thank Marsha Bonilla for us for securing Renaissance High School. Renaissance on Thursday afternoon will be the site for Idea Collection number 2, where youth and families can provide input into the city's youth strategic plan around participatory budgeting. And what better place to do it than at one of our schools? Right, so when we talk about investing in youth and participation and lifting up youth voices, whole lot of work went into making sure that our district could provide that space to the collaborators and the organizations that are facilitating those conversations. If you're interested in attending and or you're interested in sharing ideas, www.investinyouth.lb.org. Deadline for idea submission is the 18th of this month. So if you can't make it out to Renaissance, I think it's at 4:30 on Thursday afternoon. You can still participate, www.investinyouth.lb.org, to make sure that we prioritize our youth voices through our budgeting in the city. What else? Black Student Achievement, Black History Month. We already talked about that. Thank you, Axel. That's my report for tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Mr. Otto?
Okay, thanks. So as we all know, this is Black History Month, and every year I try and come up with something special to recognize things that have gone on in this community. This year, what I first did was go to the First Fridays last week on Atlantic to the Annex, and was an incredible show of black activity here in Long Beach, and it was incredibly impressive. The place was full. People were very anxious to show the things that they were involved in and the things that they were proud of. There were all kinds of exhibits. People were there to talk to about things that had been going on. But this year, one of the things that I'm trying to do, we're not positive that it's going to happen yet, but as you may know, I'm the vice chair of the Aquarium Board, and last week we did the retreat for the aquarium, lasted all day, but the highlight of that was to show us what the status was of the African American Scholarship Program. About 5 years ago, the aquarium decided that it should establish a program because there was almost no African American participation in the sciences, the marine sciences area. And so we set up a program to give up to 10 students a year $10,000 to go forward and educate. And at the retreat last week, there was a presentation by 3 of those scholars, and what they talked most about was not only the fact that this had enabled them to go forward, and they're now working on PhD degrees in the marine science area, but the sense of community that they were able to develop among themselves. And so what I'm hoping is that we can have a video at our next meeting or some other way to acknowledge this program, because it's a successful program to which African Americans or blacks have had very little participation up till this point. And I consider the aquarium to be an educational institution. I consider it to be a partner, as I think the district does with the district, and I'm looking forward to celebrating the things that we've accomplished with that group.
Thank you. Ms. Lopez?
Thank you. I attended the Sankofa Parent Village and the Black Student Achievement Initiative Symposium, and I do want to commend the staff, the parents, and the students who organized, attended, or participated in them. As we all know, this is critical to Black student success. I also attended the Early Learning in Kindergarten Festival at Dooley Elementary School, and I thoroughly enjoyed the presentations by the educators who, like in the symposium, gave up their Saturdays to participate. And a whole different note, a number of parents from Longfellow Elementary School have reached out regarding their school's Title I funding. And I really want to take this moment to quickly address the change that will be taking place there next year. So starting next year, Longfellow Elementary will no longer be considered a Title I school, despite over 38% of their students being low income and generating Title I funds for our district. So in other words, even though 38% of the students there are generating funding, those funds will not go back to their school. But this is also the case in some of our high schools, like Wilson, Milligan, Pauley, McBride, where we do have low-income students, but these they're generating Title I funds, but they're not going back to the school. So I just want to assure parents that I am committed to ensuring that resources that kids need and deserve are in their schools, and I'd like to continue the conversation with the district to look at alternative ways that we can continue to provide a quality education to our students that are in schools that are not receiving these funds. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to try and get through my report quickly because there's so many good things I don't want to abandon. I attended the YMCA second annual Principal Appreciation Lunch, and sometimes we have a Teacher Appreciation Week, or there's opportunities to appreciate our teachers and other staff, but principals don't always get the recognition they deserve. So the YMCA recognized our principals, and I'll just mention quickly that the keynote speaker, Michael Fink, he's the director of Expanded Learning, the Expanded Learning Division for the California Department of Education. And I think maybe myself as well as other people there might have been expecting him to talk about something very educational, but what he talked about was leading with love. And I thought that was a wonderful message, and a highlight was testimonials from a couple of moms whose children participate in YMCA-sponsored events after school, and the impact that it's made, on their families. Very wonderful. Let's see. Also, I had an invitation from our music teacher, Valerie Vernard, to join her and Baba the Storyteller at Webster. So I had an opportunity to join the drum circle and enjoy the African storytelling. Baba the Storyteller actually studied in Africa. He speaks multiple languages. He travels around the world. He recently was in China performing his storytelling, and he plays this instrument called the kora. And he delivers his stories in English and in whatever language is appropriate in that country, wherever he is. And I personally heard him speak to our kids at Webster in English and Spanish. I know he speaks Mandarin, and he speaks 3 or 4 different dialects of, African languages. He's phenomenal. It's great to watch him with the kids. Very fun. I also attended a Kinder Festival, the one at Bircham, and it was very well attended, even in the rain. People were out there. I really wasn't expecting a big crowd, but there was a big crowd. People are very interested in our schools. I'm very happy about that. Let's see. The Family Leadership Institute, and we had our inaugural 3-day conference for parents from 12 different elementary schools. We had 68 parents in all. We brought in Consuelo Castillo Kickbush from Nevada. She's engaging, energetic, educational. Parents participated in team-building activities. She uplifted parents in their roles with their children and just with their self-worth. There was a lot of energy in the room. It was a fabulous event, and I was there a couple of different days. The energy was high at all times, let me tell you, and it was a very positive experience. There was a graduation on the final day, and one of the moms mentioned that it was the first time she had graduated from anything. It was her first graduation. So it was, even though it was a 3-day conference and there was a graduation, it was very meaningful, and I know everybody walked away a different person than when they came. So I hope there's a way we can continue with this program, because as we've learned with our board governance, our students do better when adult behaviors change. When we uplift our parents as the students' first teachers, then we are changing adult behaviors, and that's going to impact our student outcomes. And then lastly, I'll just say that I went uptown for the all-district instrumental concert, the honor bands for middle school, high school, honor orchestra for middle school, high school. I want to congratulate all the talented musicians, and there were plenty, and also scholarship winners. Scholarships were given to Emily Guerra from Hughes and Miles Petrick from Wilson. And then finally, just a thank you to Miss Bhatia, all the staff who made that possible, and all the music teachers for what they do for our children. And I'm proud to be a part of a district that invests in the arts. It was a wonderful evening. Our kids are so talented. And it was a free concert. You can't beat that. Anyhow, Dr. Baker. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Miller.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion. I wanted to save my comments towards the end because I knew that multiple people were going to talk about. I know there were multiple folks in the room who were there in support of the Black Student Achievement Initiative Symposium, as it is slowly but surely becoming like a staple event, at least during my tenure. It's the third annual, and I've been here 3 years, and so I've had the opportunity to enjoy it. And every year it's grown and been more impactful. This year with the student panel to the introduction to some, not to those here in this building, in regards to Dr. Bettina Love. It was definitely one of those must-attend events for our Black parents in the district. And so I wanted to give a big shout out to all parties involved who helped plan, both our volunteers and those from an administrative standpoint. Thank you all for once again putting on a very successful event. But as quickly as I say these things about all of the great things that happened at this event, I would be remiss if I didn't also bring up the connection to why we have the event in the first place, and that is uplifting the academic improvements of our Black students. And so that is where I want to continue to challenge all of us here as we are going to look at data going into our upcoming workshop. And we're going to look at the performance of all of our students two of our goals in which are focused towards our African-American students in particular. I want to make sure that we keep all of the Black joy that we saw in that room in mind, but keep thinking about how we operationalize all of those great talents that we saw into academic improvement. And so when I think about some of the organizations that were there and the opportunities for us to co-collaborate, I'd be remiss if I didn't think about an organization like Freedom School that is taking African-American students and having them in a full-blown reading program for over 8 weeks over the summer. An organization like the Math Collaborative, which is over 100 Black students that are just focused on careers in STEM and mathematics. Organizations like the African American Cultural Center, with, yes, they're uplifting both Black culture, but they also have interest in being a tutoring program for our Black students. And last but definitely not least, I think about an organization like Project Optimism, which is an organization that's centered around mentorship for our Black students in the district. And so as we emphasize the uplift of our culture and the Black joy that we have in our city and our district in particular, I would also want us to keep in mind of opportunities to where we can take this and implement it into supporting these students and helping them reach their academic dreams, as this is the main reason why we're here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Baker.
Thank you. A few items for my report tonight, and I'd also like to build on the Black Student Achievement Initiative Symposium. What a wonderful day it was for our community to see families dream with their students and to think really about a bright future and to bring so much joy into the space. I want to give a special shout out to Alyssa Taylor-Stewart and the team that she organizes as the advisory committee, which is made up of 5 staff members and 11 extremely dedicated parents who meet regularly and who have continued to think about ways to expand their influence and expand the work that we do in Long Beach Unified School District in service to many different aspects of our Black students' experience, their well-being, and also their academic achievement. Liberating the dream, I'll just let that be said. Liberating the dream was the theme of this year's symposium. And equity, engagement, and partnerships, the team that is there from very early in the morning, including Dr. Salazar and team, to greet families and to ensure that everything is well organized for a great day. The last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of weather, and so want to just really appreciate our maintenance and operations staff. They worked through the weekend, the night before our previous storm last week, getting everything ready, cleaning drains, addressing hundreds of challenges that our schools were experiencing, really prioritizing making schools safe and clear for our students to be there, and also to school teams for braving the storm. I know that there was some anxiety about coming to work on Monday, but I will say that our teams were out, they were greeting students and ready to go, even though it was a very rainy couple of days. And special thanks to our Avalon staff. We often forget that we have teams of people that travel over to the island every day, and on a day like Monday and Tuesday, they had to endure a change in plans and then get on a boat over to Avalon and go through rough waters to get to work. So special thanks to our Avalon staff who travels daily. Just a couple more things. Just want to recognize this is National School Counselors Week, and I've seen a lot of celebrations on social media and in my time in schools this week, appreciating counselors for the work that they do, and just want to amplify that. It was stated tomorrow night is our teacher recruitment night, so if you have not heard about that and are a teacher seeking employment, Browning High School at 5 o'clock. We'll have short presentations and then a lot of ways for potential teachers in the areas of special education, math and science, dual language to interact with our staff. And lastly, next week is a wonderful week for our elementary students. 4th and 5th graders will be attending the symphony concert. They take school transportation down to the symphony. Wonderful arrangements have been made. It involves all of our music staff to come in and experience a concert in the beautiful theater. And then to also have lessons that are taught back in their classrooms to really talk about the experience and what it means to attend a symphony. So I want to just appreciate, we had some bumps in the road, but the City of Long Beach and us, we partnered together to make sure that 4th and 5th graders could be at the symphony this year. I'm actually looking forward to attending myself. So that is my report. Oh, one last thing. The application is out for Youth Poet Laureate. And so for any students that receive this message or teachers who may have potential applicants, we had a winner from Wilson High School last year. But just want to encourage those who have poetic strengths, to look at the city's application and put your name in for Youth Poet Laureate this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. I'm glad you mentioned everybody who worked hard to make sure our schools were safe with this storm, and I did not even consider staff that had to travel to Avalon in that storm. I have been on a boat to Avalon in bad weather. It was so memorable. It was 37 years ago, and I still remember it, and it was not fun. So that one, props to those teachers, honestly. But this concludes the meeting for this evening. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is February 21st, although we will be having a workshop on February 20th. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff. I know it's late. And with that, I adjourn the meeting.